Joining me now, Major General Jeffrey Schloesser, I apologize, U.S. Army, former commanding general of the 101st Airborne Division. Perhaps you've heard of them, and he's also the author of the book Marathon War, Leadership in Combat in Afghanistan. General, one, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your service. Two, this is a disaster. I don't think it's a military disaster. I mean, I'm sure the military owns some of what happened in Afghanistan for 20 years, but right now we have these civilians who are not out there getting them. Why?
Well, Jesse, first, let me say thanks for having me on the show. So I mean, just for everybody that's listening, watching, and stuff like that, we have 10 to 15,000 Afghan Americans. They're American citizens on the ground still in Afghanistan that we have got to be able to bring back to America. And there's another estimates are 50 to 65,000 Afghans that helped us in Afghanistan over 20 years, as well as their family members, and they're all there. So what you have right now is a really dire situation in which we don't control anything other than the military side of Kabul airport. And the Taliban, no friends to us, no friends to America, by the way, have established an outer cordon around the airport itself. And they're only letting in certain people. And it's unclear right now whether there's going to be a process established or not. It's pretty tough for, I think, the military on the ground there and the few diplomats that are still remaining to coordinate with this kind of an organization. So it remains to be seen how we're actually going to do that. I mean, Jesse, this, it's all about logistics when it comes to warfare at a big level. And trying to get that number out this late in the game is going to be a real challenge.
Yeah, I forget who the Marine Corps general was that said amateurs study tactics, professionals study logistics, but he was 100% right. All right, I'm getting word already we have British Special Forces, SAS guys are out there. They're outside of the airport gathering up their people. Now, I know we got Rangers over there. I know we've got some pipe hitters in country. Why are we not doing the same? Is there a political reason? Why would we not be outside of that airport gathering our people up?
First of all, Jesse, I would hope that we actually do have folks out there. They may not be in uniform and things of that nature, but I suspect that that we have people outside the wire that are making sure that American citizens aren't mishandled out there or treated violently. I don't know that for a fact. As you know, I've been retired for a long time, or for 10 years. My guess, though, is proper military planning. Not that this isn't a great example of proper military planning by any means. It's been chaos for sure, and debacle is probably a nice way of putting it. But I would assume that there are special operators out there from the American side that are ensuring the lives of our American citizens that are still outside the wire. That said, waiting this late in the game to do what is required. Like I said, 10 to 15,000 American citizens are out there. A lot of them are not in Kabul. They're out. They may have been visiting their homes. Just like some of us. I'm a German immigrant from years past. When I go to Germany, I don't think that all of a sudden the Taliban are going to take over Germany and I'm not going to be able to get out, or that they're going to take over America one way or the other. I mean, this is a huge logistical challenge. And it's not going to get solved this week or next week. This is going to be something where you're going to have a sustained American commitment to do the right things by our citizens and by those Afghans that actually helped us. And realize the vast majority of those have not been vetted as far as the Afghans. We got to make sure that we're not bringing over a couple of Al-Qaeda at the same time that we're bringing in very valid Afghan interpreters, translators, and their families back into, or get out of the area of violence and get them into an area where that we can take a hard look at them.
Okay, General, you mentioned we only own a portion or control a portion of one airport. We don't have bases over there. We abandoned Bagram. Okay, fine. We have a portion of the airport, and the Taliban control the area around the airport. People are concerned. I'm concerned. What motivation do the Taliban have to let American citizens through to the airport? These are obviously not reasonable people. This is not some international organization or some legitimate government somewhere. These are radicals who believe in Sharia law. They're nut jobs. What motivation do they have to say, oh, you're an American citizen? Come on through to the airport. It doesn't seem like we have the leverage to make them do that.
Yeah, I personally, I'm Jesse, I'm with you. I know you're a former Marine. I'm a former soldier, right? I mean, never you're always a Marine. I'm always a soldier, right? You and I both understand this, and let's help our people that are listening and watching in this understand. You don't give up leverage while you're still trying to conduct an operation. And so, like you mentioned, Bagram. I mean, to give up Bagram before we had completed the operations in Afghanistan and got everybody out, not just diplomats, not just the remaining soldiers, but more importantly, the American citizens and those that gave a great deal of service to our country at peril to their family, those translators, interpreters, they needed to get out too. So giving up that is mind-boggling to me, and it's hard to explain. At this point in time, we have very little leverage other than the force of arms by those Marine battalions, some portion of the 82nd Airborne, 10th Mountain Division that's on the ground there, and hopefully some special operators. And that's about it. And again, we've consolidated onto a very small area. For most Americans, this is like the size of your regional airport, and that's about it. And they're not only, I mean, that's where they're operating from, that's where they're living from, and they're totally consumed in just trying to protect that area. I don't think that American soldiers and Marines are going to reach out very far out of that cordon. And why would the Taliban cooperate? Well, I would say one thing, the only thing I can think of that motivates them is they want us lock, stock, and barrel out. I think on 9/11, what they want to see is a celebration of their victory over the United States with no military troops from the United States on the ground. And so that would probably be their only motivation. Let's do enough to get the Americans out of our country, and then we're going to celebrate our victory. And I think that, that might be enough. I don't know it's going to be enough. I do think that what we have done at this point in time is probably not enough to allow all those citizens and all those Afghans to get out to safety in a period of time that the Taliban's going to basically allow. I think by 9/11, they're going to insist that that airport is closed to American soldiers and Marines.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.